forward to public comments. The public comments are 3 minutes per person. And the first opportunity for public comment is for agenda items only. May I have a motion, please?
Moved.
Moved by Mr. Sparta. May I have a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. DeStacy. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? No. The floor is open. Is there anyone in person that wishes to make a comment regarding an agenda item? Okay. Is there anyone virtually who would like to make a comment?
Yes, Jessica Palladini.
Ms. Palladini?
Good evening. Just two quick questions that I see on the bills list. First question, are we still giving longevity pay to new hires, or is that just grandfathered?
I think Danelle's on here. I don't know if she can answer that quickly or not.
You're muted, Joe. You're muted.
Thank you. There is one contract that still allows for longevity pay.
Yeah, but that doesn't answer my question. Is that a grandfathered one? In other words?
Well, there's different levels of longevity pay. So there are longevity pay that was an older version of longevity pay that's grandfathered. There's different levels based on the contract.
Okay, but my question was, are we still paying longevity pay to new hires?
So again, there is longevity pay for a specific contract for specific new hires. Yes.
So the answer is yes, we are still paying longevity pay for new hires. Can you tell me what category or level that's for? Is it police? Is it administration? What level is it for?
It's in the police contract.
Police contract. So police contracts still have longevity. Okay, my second question is, there's an item that says $25,000 office furniture. It's a lot of money for office furniture. Can you tell me what offices those are for?
Are you talking about the capital ordinance on for this evening?
I think that's what you mean, right?
Yeah, I saw an item that said $25,000 office furniture. It might be capital, Donnell. I don't remember if I saw it in capital or if I saw it on the bills list. But I thought that was, a good amount of money for office furniture. So I wondered what office.
So that is appropriated. We're appropriating it for the police department for their office furniture that's around 20 to 30 years old.
Okay, so it's for the police department. Great, thank you. That's it.
Thank you. Are there any other hands raised, Marcy?
I don't have any hands raised.
Okay. No other members of the public questions? May I have a motion to close the floor to public comments? Moved by Mr. Suda. May I have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Sparta. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? No, the floor is closed for public comment. Each council member has received a copy of the bills list for their review. Does anyone have any questions or comments regarding the bills list?
I would just like to have Donnell explain to the public what the turnout gear is and why it's so expensive
Okay,
and how it's funded through what. I know it says capital, but
which check number are you talking about?
59689.
59.
Very.
Oh, the first one. Okay, I was looking at the
Yeah,
other
the
one.
first one.
Okay, all right. Danelle, can you talk to that?
Sure. So the turnout gear for the fire department, that includes their coats, these are their uniforms, right? So they're for fighting fires, actually. So these are their coats, their pants, and their boots. That's what this was for. Upon inspection last year, the fire commissioner notified us that we needed to get around, 25 new full sets across the department. So we had to order those, and those were out of prior capital and or bond ordinances that it was charged to.
How many outfits are under this 103,000?
I believe Dan said there was about 25.
25, okay, thank you.
All right, any other questions about the bills list? No, we're all good? Okay. The approval of the minutes. We all received a copy of the April 2024 regular meeting minutes. May I have a motion to approve the April 23rd, 2023 regular meeting minutes?
Moved.
Moved by Mr. Sparta. May I have a second?
Second,
Second by Ms. DeStacy. Ms. Roll call vote, please.
Member DeStacy.
No, move your microphone a little closer. It's hard to hear you.
Councilmember DeStacy.
yes.
Councilmember Rizzuto.
Abstain.
Councilmember Sparta.
Yes.
Councilmember Tadrick.
Yes.
Council President Bushieri.
Yes.
Motion carries.
We have a consent agenda. I'll read through these resolutions, and after I'm done, if any council members want to remove any from the consent agenda, please let me know. I'll read through them first. Resolution 23-131, resolution authorizing purchase of 2 Faber side dry tankers, firefighting equipment through Sourcewell National Cooperative number 113021-OKC through Fire and Safety Services, Inc. Resolution 23-132, chapter 159, resolution requesting approval of revenue and appropriation amending the 2023 budget as a revenue and appropriation of $9,995. Resolution 23-133, resolution authorizing fireworks to be displayed on July 4th, 2023 within the township of Vernon. Resolution 23-134, authorizing issuance of estimated property tax bills. Resolution 23-136, resolution supporting the Vernon Township High School senior sign project for the class of 2023.
I would like to have 23-131 poll, please.
23-131 will be pulled out, okay? There's no Patrick. Any other? No, any other requests? Joe, you're good?
Good.
You're good?
I'm good.
Okay, so then we will do the consent agenda and then we'll do resolution 131, Marcy, okay?
Yes.
All right. May I have a motion to approve the consent agenda minus resolution 23-131?
Motion,
Motion made by Ms. DeStacy. May I have a second? I'll second that. May I have a roll call vote?
Councilmember DeStacy.
yes.
Councilmember Rizzuto.
Yes.
Councilmember Sparta.
Yes.
Councilmember Tadrick.
Yes.
Council President Bushieri.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Okay. I just want to make a comment. I think it's just a nice collaboration between municipal government and the Board of Ed that we can honor our seniors this year again. Putting those signs up along by the fire department in Main Street. So it's just a nice collaboration in our town and something to be proud of. So I'm glad we're able to do that. Okay. Resolution 23-131. May I have a motion for resolution 23-131?
For discussion or
Discussion. Yeah, for discussion.
a motion?
May I have a second?
Second.
Okay.
The
The resolution is on the floor.
question that I have is that this is saying 2 tankers. Now, we just approved at the last meeting a pumper truck. And now we're approving 2 tankers. It's my understanding when I asked the question that this is actually replacing the pumper truck. We're really gonna only be ordering 2 pumper trucks and not, 2 tanker trucks and not ordering the pumper truck. So is that correct?
That is correct. So we're down now 2 tankers in Vernon Township. So we need to replace not just 1 tanker, but the other tanker.
And we're not ordering the pumper truck.
We're not ordering the engine, correct?
Okay, so this, I feel that this resolution should be amending the original one that we approved 2 weeks ago. It should note that this is replacing that resolution because it appears as if we're ordering the pumper truck and now authorizing 2 tankers.
So there are two different items here. So you're speaking about the bond ordinance. So we approved a bond ordinance to allow us to use money for fire apparatus. And this is authorizing the award to purchase based on that funding ability.
But we also authorized the purchase.
You
do,
authorize the purchase of fire apparatus. And the
It
intent was
didn't
originally
say-
to buy, excuse me, the intent was originally to buy, I believe it was like a pumper engine, like, combination.
yes.
But unfortunately, literally in the past 2 weeks, McAfee's tanker is out of commission now too.
I
So,
understand that.
yeah,
What I'm saying is that the original authorization was for 1 pumper and 1 tanker. I believe that this should reflect, it's replacing the original authorization to now be just 2 tankers.
so
So
this
there's no
resolution,
confusion.
but this resolution is awarding 2 tankers. So I don't understand.
I think the confusion comes from the fact that the initial vote authorized the purchase of fire apparatus. You can't just go out and purchase fire apparatus. That has to then be bid and a contract awarded. And that is what this resolution is seeking to do, is to award the bid for the purchase of those 2 trucks.
But we did authorize for a pumper and a tanker.
You only authorized fire apparatus, and at the time it was contemplated to be a pumper. But I don't believe any RFP went out or you received any responses
Yeah,
for a pumper, right, Donnell?
yeah, it did.
Correct.
Can I ask a
It is
question?
very confusing.
So the ordinance 2312, which we passed last meeting, correct?
Right.
It says bond ordinance providing for the acquisition of a new fire truck by the Township of Vernon in the County of Sussex appropriating $845,300, therefore authorizing the issuance of $320,000 in bonds or notes of the township for financing such appropriation. It appears that the ordinance, the bond ordinance, was only for a single truck. Is that correct?
We also passed a capital ordinance prior to that. So our original discussions at I believe it was the first meeting in April. April 10th was, I believe, when they were both brought for adoption originally, the capital ordinance and the bond ordinance, and they were for 2 apparatus. One was for a tanker, one was for a pumper. That was the intent. However, Highland Lakes' tanker was put out of commission for an issue with the engine. And then in the past week, McAfee's tanker was put out of commission.
I understand that, but the original did say pumper and tanker, and now you want to buy 2 tankers. I'm just saying that I think that this should reflect that it's replacing the original order.
Mrs. DeStacy, I think that the difference here, the thin difference here is that what you passed last week was authorization to buy
I'm talking about last week. I'm talking about the one back at the beginning. It was in March that we
Okay.
passed.
as I understand, that was just authorization.
Right.
And what this is actually awarding. The other one didn't award anything. It was just, you got approved to do it. But now you've got to, but when you finally award a contract to spend the dollars, it's got to be very specific. And this is what this one is for. That's my understanding of what the differences might be. I understand what you're
It
saying.
isn't clear in this at all,
Okay.
and we were confused. So
So Danelle, am I correct in saying then that basically one truck is being bought on the bond and the other is being bought through capital?
Correct.
Anyone else have a question about that? Patrick, you're good?
I'm good.
All right. May I have a roll call vote?
Councilmember DeStacy,
yes,
Member Rizzuto,
Yes.
Councilmember Sparta,
Yes.
Councilmember Fabric,
yes,
Council President Bushieri.
Yes. Next on the agenda. Here we have an introduction of a capital ordinance.
Council President, I'm going to recuse myself for this introduction.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Um. Introduction of ordinance 2314, capital ordinance, providing for various improvements of the township of Vernon and the county of Sussex, New Jersey, appropriating therefore the sum of 340,000 and providing that sum so appropriated shall be raised from the capital improvement fund of the township. May I have a motion to introduce ordinance 2314?
Can we have discussion?
Well, yeah, once we make the motion, introduce it,
Okay.
right? And then we can talk about it. Okay.
I don't know why we are doing this.
So that way we can talk, well,
Normally you don't. Introduction does not include discussion
I
because the people have not had a chance to look at what's going into the ordinance. And, you know,
I did run this by council and there's.
You can have a
nothing inappropriate.
discussion about it before introducing it.
And this way we can discuss it. And if there's questions before we wait till the second introduction, we lose time that way. And this way we can have a discussion and the public's welcome to talk about agenda items. May I have a motion
To
to
introduce,
introduce it
We'll introduce it for discussion.
for discussion? May I have a motion to
For
introduce it for
discussion.
discussion?
yes, I'll make the motion.
Thank you. I'll second it. Roll call, does anyone have any questions or comments regarding ordinance 2314?
I would like to see that this be broken out as to line items as to what is needed, why we need it, how it will be funded, and then allow each individual item to be voted on, because there are some things on here that, as Mr. Sparta has said, he can't vote on some items, but he could vote on others. So I would like to see this broken down further for individual line item votes. That's all.
Is that possible to do that for a bond ordinance?
Would have to
Now,
be
or-
reintroduced at the next meeting.
Okay. Is that something that happens typically? You know, you guys are experienced on that.
It's the council's decision as far as how they want to vote on the capital.
So, I don't know if anyone wants to go like what each one of these is and what it's for.
Well, Ms. DeStaffy has
I
a
mean, the
question.
concern, go ahead.
No, I mean, well, I think it's pretty clear, plows and sanders, mower, equipment, you know, you have those.
No,
details.
it's not, I understand that part. What I'm saying is, why do we need it? What is this? Is this, well, we just want to upgrade, or are we out of the mower? Is it a need or is it a want? I mean, we need to begin to curtail spending. And I believe that since this is the first thing that has come before us, that we really need to look at it and serious decisions on each item.
Is that some information then you can provide to the council? Maybe not this moment, Ms. Bright,
So,
but
we do have the backup for the requests from the DPW and the police department, all these different departments. I have the backup. So there were a lot more items that were requested that were not included in the capital plan because of we felt, you know, the need for necessity versus a want. I mean, I can tell you with regards to the DPW items, the mower, the equipment, that's replacement of very old items.
20 years old, in fact, some of them.
Yeah. The Lake Panorama generator, I think that one's about 20 to 30 years old. We just replaced one in 2020 up at the Monument Tower, so it's a similar situation here. Radio extenders for the police, fire, and EMS, that's so that they can extend to the Appalachian Trail because they have radio issues up on the Appalachian Trail. You know, a lot of these things are needs. Fire department turnout gear. I mean, the idea is to put a little bit every year for turnout gear replacements, so that we don't have to end up like we did last year with $100,000 expense.
Well, in the future, I would like to see what you're just describing given to us as well when the ordinance is presented. And then we wouldn't have to be asking these questions if we had the information in front of us. This is just a sheet of paper with numbers listed on it. It doesn't tell me anything. So that's all. I just feel we need more information.
So are you able to provide that back up via email?
Yeah, yes, I can provide that backup by email.
Okay,
That would be
so
good.
then the council will get that.
Yes.
Thank you. Okay, any other questions or discussion regarding this?
May I ask, is there a problem? This ordinance then will not be introduced tonight. Am I correct? Is that a problem, Donnell, for timing for something?
If it doesn't get introduced tonight, then it doesn't get approved at the next meeting, and then it would push it back until the end of June at the least.
You see any major problems with that? You see
I
some-
mean, the departments just will make the departments aware they can't buy anything until the end of June, until it's approved.
Okay. Okay. So now do we have to table an ordinance, Josh, or we just don't?
It hasn't been introduced
It
yet.
has been introduced, so we can just move on.
You can you introduce it now?
You could introduce it now, but are you going to amend it later to have each capital item voted
Depends
on?
on what the explanations are of the items.
Well, if you amend it at the next meeting, that will be
Let's get
the
back to-
second first reading. So it'll be you'll just reset the clock.
So there's no sense in introducing it tonight.
If you do not intend to vote on it as presented, then there's no point in introducing it.
Okay, well, I
Okay.
can't commit to that because I don't know until I see the documentation, so then we won't introduce.
Okay, then we'll move on. Okay, next is public comment. Please note, public comments are limited to 5 minutes per person. These can be about any topic. They don't need to be agenda items only, and please address me, the council president, as you're speaking. May I have a motion to open the floor to public comment? Moved by Mr. Sparta. May I have a second? I'll second that. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? No. All right, the floor is open to public comment.
Hi, good evening, Steve Dunlap. Just a question. You talked about in this capital ordinance, $25,000 for office furniture for police. But wasn't there $25,000 in the bills list for?
No.
Furniture, did I miss something?
$25,000 in the bill?
I thought that was one of the questions was what the furniture was for, and they said the police.
No, I think
No,
Mrs. Palladini's
Was
first question was,
Bills list, but the item was actually in the capital.
Yeah.
It was in the capital ordinance. It
It
wasn't.
wasn't on the bills.
No, it's on the bill.
Okay, sorry, I just,
That's okay.
wait a minute, are we doing 50,000 or? Thank you.
Okay.
Sorry about that.
No problem. Anyone else in person that has a question?
Hey, how is everybody this evening?
Good, thank you.
Good. I was hoping to take this opportunity to make a few comments.
I want to
on-
get right to the
Yeah.
mic, sir, that way you can be
Yeah.
recorded.
Please,
Yeah, Charles Peck,
Charles Peck.
resident here in Sussex County. So I was hoping to take this opportunity to make a few comments on the proposed cannabis cultivation facility at 1785 and
If you could speak up a little bit. I'm having a hard time hearing you. Okay.
Yeah, no problem. So I have a concern that the town council has not adequately considered the impact of that facility on the adjacent residences. And I just wanted to bring up a few examples in recent history in New Jersey that illustrate some of the negative impacts of one of these facilities in a residential neighborhood. So if I may take a few minutes to list those off. So in Reddington, New Jersey, the Verano Holdings cultivation facility, residents issued a large number of complaints to the New Jersey Department of Environmental Protection, and it eventually resulted in fines and the requirement of the facility to institute odor control mitigation. Also in Boontown Township, New Jersey, the same thing happened again with Terracen. And here too, the New Jersey Department of Environmental Protection issued a administrative civil action requiring that facility to institute odor mitigation control. So as a resident very close to that facility, I have some significant concerns about the odors that that facility may generate. A few other comments: property value reduction. So in Cheney, Washington, a bank cannabis grow facility resulted in the county assessor's office taking 10% off of the property values of adjoining residential lots. And it was such a negative impact on property value that the assessor's office, or excuse me, the town council involved, stopped issuing permits for cultivation facilities adjacent to residential areas. Further, in Dona Ana County, New Mexico, was a similar situation. In this case, local real estate agents indicated that if there is a grow facility adjacent to your residence, your property value will be reduced. So one of the things that we may want to consider in moving forward with this facility, which I realize you guys have already approved, but I would like to get this on the record, is that the recognized potential tax revenue from that facility might be greatly, or at least somewhat to significantly reduced by a loss in taxes from property values from multiple adjoining residences. I know too that from their land use application, they are seeking relief from a maximum 6-foot chain link fence requirement, and they'd like to go to 8 foot. So to my mind, and it seems reasonable to infer that there is crime expected or potential break-ins. And this is something that we'd rather not have introduced to the community if the actual owner of the facility is anticipating these issues already. Another issue is traffic safety. There's going to be more traffic. And so I wonder if any traffic plans have been studied or introduced for review. Additionally, this does fall within the Highlands Act regional administrative area. And as you all may know, the Highlands Act has a significant amount of requirements to protect those lands. And some of the issues that would come up is that that specific location where that facility will be placed in that property is a designated critical wildlife habitat, conservation priority area, and a protection zone. Also, there may be issues with compliance with all of the requirements of the Highlands Protection Act, in that it may be exceeding the allowable impervious area, even for a farmland or horticultural facility. And if it is, then it would require the submission of either a farm conservation plan or a resource management system plan.
Just about out of time.
So the last thing would be water safety and usage. So I don't know if studies have been done regarding that, but we will clearly see additional water usage occurring from the facility. And actually, the very last thing is this applicant, Sussex Cultivation, began construction before they were allowed to do so. So I have concerns about the good faith of the applicant as we proceed forward in this process and how receptive they're going to be to our concerns. Additionally, the Highlands Act and the town council, I wonder what kind of penalty you would assess
Thank you.
for such an incident.
Thank you.
Thanks for hearing me out. Appreciate it.
Thank you for your comments.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you for coming. Not everyone on this council voted to support that.
Yeah.
Are there any other comments? Virtually? I'm sorry, in
Oh,
person.
there's somebody.
Sorry, go ahead.
I'm not prepared as that was. Joanna Grahanoff, I live also in the same area where him and his family does. And again, I have the same questions as he has. the owner that's, I guess, selling or rent or leasing the farm to Sussex, whatever the name of the company is supposed to be, is the same owner that the town has approved for him to have a venue where he has nonstop weddings, which none of myself or any of the surrounding neighbors were even ever told about, that this guy will have the availability and okay to have all these venues, the weddings, loud music, etc. When I called the town not too long ago, probably about last year, because that's when this whole thing started, I was told, close your windows and put earplugs in. How does that work? Because on Saturday, he had a wedding and he had a live band. You know, I moved to this town 13 years ago. You know why? For the peacefulness. Now I have no peacefulness on Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays from April until October. So I would like to introduce some kind of a bill. I'm not sure how to go about this, where the loud music is not allowed. So, and again, the same thing with the cultivation of the cannabis. I have major problems with it because my property is going to go down. I have kids. I have surrounding neighbors that have kids. I mean, I know that this guy does have kids as well, but I mean, I guess he's okay with it. So with that said, I'm assuming the next land board meeting, I guess we will need to have something else introduced, because I know there's a lot of people that are against it. And I'm sure a lot more people will show up in the next meeting. But as far as, like I said, his venue, I would like to find out from council members as to what can we do as taxpayers.
I think that's a zoning issue, Mayor, that.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that was something you would need to talk to the zoning officer. There, you know, different pieces of property are zoned for different types of use. So I don't know what the zoning is for that farm, but the zoning officer would be able to answer that question and let you know what types of use and what the parameters.
Because I know none of you live where I live, and I'm sure that if you want to sit on your deck at 9 o'clock at night, you don't want to hear music pounding, because I would like to read a book. So it's a zoning person.
It's a zoning question.
Okay, no problem. Thank you.
I thank you for your time. Is there anyone else?
Hi, my name is Kathleen Geary. I live in right next to the farm too. We are all neighbors and we are very stressed about what's going to happen to our town. We need accountability. If that farm goes up, are we going to have issue with our well? Who's going to pay for that? Because this kind of farming takes a lot of water out of the ground and we live right next to it. So are we going to have an issue? The smell, have you ever been around this? Have you ever opened your window, just wanting to go in your yard and smelling that? It is awful. It's disgusting. It gets me sick. I get migraine at the minute I smell it. So now you're telling me I cannot live in my house and I have to move because I cannot be around this. If it smells very strong, are they going to be accountable to remediate that? We look at the plan. They don't talk about how they're going to take care of the smell, which kind of building, we know which kind of buildings they have, but they don't talk about how they are going to help us not be traumatized with this thing up there. They're just going to build something and destroy so many people around us. We changed the zoning of, we live on like 3/4 of an acre. And the zoning must change around us to be 5 acre plus. So I think it's zoning 1 or something like this. To try to keep this farm not to be split and build houses on every little land they have. And now we have to build something disgusting. It's gross, it's going to smell, it's going to destroy everything we moved here for. And I think we need accountability. And we are not going to get anything. They're going to be able to destroy everything around us. People just tell us, oh, just move, you don't like it. No, we're here, we have a family, we have so many neighbors. It's not fair. And we need something to be done.
there anyone else in the public in person? Is there anyone virtually, Marcy?
Jessica Palladini.
Okay, Ms. Palladini?
Yes, you know, if what the gentleman who just spoke a minute or two ago, if what he said is true, then that's a huge concern for adjacent property owners of cannabis sites. And you are correct, Councilwoman Bucieri, for saying that not everyone voted for that. And I thank you for your vote, and I thank Mr. Rizzuto for his vote, because you shouldn't be legislating things that lower other residents' property values. And after opposing it for maybe way more than a year, Councilwoman DeStassi's vote tipped that over to approving the site over on Maple Grange Road, which was in direct contradiction to what she had been saying for over a year. And that's a big concern for me. Maybe you need to go back and revisit the cannabis ordinance, because I think you're causing some problems and some hardships for other residents. Number two, I walked away for a minute. Was the capital improvement ordinance stalled?
It was
Did it
not
get voted?
introduced. It was not introduced.
Okay. Maybe it would be a better idea if council persons who don't understand certain things that are on the agenda, maybe it would be a better idea for them to ask about them before the meeting, so that we don't have important equipment and that type of thing that DPW needs or whatever stalled. Lastly, I want to say that Councilwoman DeStassi is not an honest person. She said at the last meeting that she does not post on Facebook. Well, that very night I began checking her posts, and at that point it was something like 28 different posts, many of which were about council business. And as you know, I sent you that email about it, and at last count, she had 42 posts on multiple Facebook groups. And I just stopped counting at that point. Why do I care about this? I care about it because she is constantly criticizing the public for asking questions and calling them names, and that's why I care about it. At one point, she claimed that Councilman Rizzuto was yelling at Councilman Sparta after a meeting. And the video did not reflect that Councilman Rizzuto was yelling at Councilman Sparta. I'd like to ask Councilman Sparta, was Councilman Rizzuto yelling at you?
Can I answer it?
Go ahead.
Of course you can.
Pat and I were having a discussion after the meeting out in front of the municipal building. I don't recall us yelling at each other. I recall us having a discussion, and that's all. I don't know if Mr. Rizzuto recalls anything different or not, but
No, that's enough. That's enough. Thank you. Thank you for your honest answer. I just wanted to demonstrate that she does repeatedly comment on Facebook. She's now stooped to criticizing members of the public who ask questions, and she's posting things about the council and giving misinformation. And I personally think it's horrendous that she said Councilman Rizzuto was yelling at Councilman Sparta, particularly when we know what really happened that night. And we will soon find that out too. And that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else? Marcy?
Yes, Walter Marcico.
Mr. Marzico?
Good evening, Walter Marsico. I just had a question in regards to, not a question, but a statement regards to a voicemail I received last Tuesday from Ms. Kraus stating she wanted to discuss the C of O at 16 Jenny Lane that I've been in compliance with for the past 2 years now. I've also been paying on a bond for this C of O since I filed application. I just want the record to reflect such, whereas I know the municipal clerk, she picks and chooses what she adds into the minutes. What was the purpose of the business administrator contacting me in regards to this? When I immediately responded via email to the mayor.
Excuse me, I
It's
can't
hard
hear.
to- Yeah.
You're
it's-
break- you're breaking up.
Breaking up, Mr. Marsico.
I said I immediately responded via email. And I copied the mayor, council, all the council members, as well as Ms. Kraus. No response from anyone, once again, radio silence. What was I contacted for by the business administrator for a CO? You have a settlement agreement you're looking to propose to me? Or is this more harassment? Anyone can answer.
I'll answer, given your consistent and persistent threats of legal counsel, Mr. Fanias,
not a
lawsuit
threat.
against the
It's not a threat.
council. I would counsel everyone to refrain from commenting.
Mr. Zelinski, don't use the word threat, please. You don't even have a clue what you're discussing. Then why was I contacted? Did she make a mistake? If there's a legal matter, is that what you're saying? So she made a mistake to harass me in a matter of the CO, and she didn't know there's a legal matter. That sounds like a problem for you, Mr. Zelinski, and council and mayor. Do you want to answer that one? Perfect way to get out of it. Don't answer anything. It's a legal matter. But we'll have business administrator Foreman. More harassment.
You're breaking up.
Yeah, we can't hear you.
Can't hear me. Mayor, can you hear me? Because I got a question for you. Can you hear me, Mayor?
We can hear you now.
Can the mayor hear me?
Yes,
Okay, that's all you have to say is a yes. Mayor, who on earth is hiring and conducting background checks for your employees?
Mayor, I would counsel you again not to respond to Mr. Marsico's questions, given his persistent and consistent threats of legal action against the town and various municipal officials.
You're one of them, so. What I've been discovering and conducting checks on your employees is absolutely despicable and mind-boggling. I'm going to make certain that every taxpayer and resident in Vernon Township knows exactly what's going on under your administration. Hiring people to work and come into our homes to enforce statutes, laws, ordinances with a criminal background. And then you attack me. And then you have an attorney that is clueless to this entire matter who tells everyone to be quiet and not answer anything. That's your way out of it. I want to know why Miss Kraus is calling me. You better answer it.
Mr. Marsico, no one's going to answer you.
No one's good. So she's harassing me. Let
She's
the
not
record
harassing you.
reflect that Miss Kraus is harassing me via phone. We can't talk about the matters. There's a legal issue. Why is she calling? You're not going to get out of this one. You backed yourself into this. You just stated we can't discuss it because there's a legal matter. Then why is someone from Vernon Township calling me? I'll wait for an answer. Because I don't like to be harassed. It's been going on for 5 years, and you're one of them, Mr. Zelinski. You give bad legal advice to the Township of Vernon, and you're getting them in a lot of trouble. And nobody wants to step forward and try and stop this. So now you joined Ms. Kraus, the second business administrator, in harassing me. I'll say it again, harassing. That better be on the record and in the minutes, because it needs to stop. Are we aware of that, Mr. Zelinski? Please stop with the harassing phone calls and the harassing emails from anyone on council and anyone from Vernon Township. that it? That's all we have to say?
Your time's just about up, Mr. Marsico.
Okay, can you promise me that she will not be contacting me?
Mr. Marsico, we're not making any promises to you.
Oh, so, okay, continue with the harassment. Good luck,
All right.
Mr. Zelinski.
Thank you. Is there anyone else, Marcy?
Yes, Van Larson.
Ms. Larson?
Good evening. I hope you can hear me. Thank you for taking my call. I just want to say thank you to the people who stepped forward with the issues and bringing them to our attention, and for the extensive research that I think his name was Charles Peck. I'd like to say thank you for all that very important information regarding the cannabis facilities. And I know the other two women who spoke, forgive me, I did not catch their names, but one woman wanted to know, where this all started from. Let me just put it on the record there. I think the pressure came from Josh Gottheimer. So perhaps they'd like to reach out to his office and get some answers as to how we got the heavy hand on the scale of getting the cannabis facility installed in Vernon. That's one thing. Secondly, I want to talk about that horrific fire, the brush fires we had. I now see some of the trees are getting cut down on 515. Not that long ago, one fell on a large branch, fell on my own husband's truck. And I've been complaining about the dead wood on 515 and Canister for a very long time. I guess we've seen from the brush fires that not only do the trees have to come down, they got to get cleaned up, because that is all fuel for all these brush fires. So I think in retrospect, now that we had a very unfortunate incident where I guess a fireman from Sussex Borough passed away after 2 fires, and we had this extensive, huge fire, I think we really have to be vigilant about the trees on 515, the firewood, the brush underneath. All of it has to get cleaned up, because now we really have guilty knowledge. And, just telling the taxpayers, oh, call the county or call this one. That's not the game. The game is that the township knows what's going on. And if anyone's calling the county, it's got to come from our municipal building. Thank you so much and have a great night.
Thank you. Are there any other?
I don't have any other hands up.
All right. No members of the public seeking to speak. May I have a motion to close the floor to public comment?
Moved.
Moved by Mr. Rizzuto. May I have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Scuttle. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries. The floor is closed to public comment. Members' comments.
Thank you very much, Council President Gutierrez. I have only one comment tonight. We in April, which was the National Volunteer Appreciation Month, by expressing our town's appreciation for one of its most civic-minded, one of its most caring, and one of its most generous volunteer organizations. That is the outstanding Vernon Rotary Club. On April the 29th, the Vernon Rotary Club made a donation to our new town center park, which will make one of the park's key amenities, which will that being the walking trail, more accessible to those with physical limitations. The donation by the Vernon Rotary Club was a deluxe electric, all-terrain, long-range motorized wheelchair built by Rubicon Mobility, a U.S. company that specialized in producing innovative and high-quality electric wheelchairs and mobility scooters. This deluxe electric, all-terrain, long-range motorized wheelchair is a comfortable and stylish wheelchair, which was designed and based on the preferences of thousands of wheelchair, scooter, and walker users. It features a powerful engine with 2 300-watt brushless dual motors, it has positive traction capabilities, making it easy to navigate different terrain, including steep slopes. This powerful and comfortable wheelchair comes with a long-range lithium-ion battery that can last up to 20 miles. The 0.24 miles portion of the town center trail that loops around the town center pump track already meets the accessibility requirements of the Americans with Disability Act. This gift from the Vernon Rotary Club will make the remaining 0.56 miles of the town center trail ADA accessible to users of this unique, powerful, and comfortable wheelchair. This gift from the Vernon Rotary Club will be managed for the town through the office of our Director of Recreation and Community Affairs, Mrs. Michelle Downtain. Specifics related to reserving and using this deluxe, all-terrain, long-range motorized wheelchair can be obtained by either calling the Municipal Department of Recreation and Community Affairs or by accessing the Services Recreational Wheelchair Reservation tabs on the Vernon Township website. On behalf of the residents of Vernon, I again offer a very grateful thank you to the outstanding Vernon Rotary Club. Those end my formal comments, Madam President.
Thank you, Meg. Council comment? Start with Mr. Tadrick. Do you have any comments?
Nope, nothing for me. Thank you.
All right. Mr. Stassi, any comments?
Nothing.
Okay, Mr. Sparta?
Nope, I'm good.
Rizzuto?
Nothing.
Good. I just have one quick comment. I do appreciate all of the residents coming to talk about their concern regarding the cannabis cultivation business. It isn't a concern that I've had and brought up many times. I encourage concerned citizens for any issue to come to council meetings, go to land use board meetings, and continue to speak out. And I appreciate that. And that's it. May I have a motion to close?
Moved.
Moved by Mr. Sparta. May I have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Rizzuto. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? No. Meeting is adjourned.
Have a good night, everyone.
Have a good night. Thank you. We're out before 8.